Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. You?
Good. Thank you for coming in today.
Sure.
I'm Jenna. We've been talking on the phone.
Great.
So thank you for taking the time to meet with me. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you. How about you?
I'm good. How are you feeling about I know it's been stressful. How are you feeling about Reading Week coming up?
Oh, I'm excited for it. I'm
Yeah?
excited to get home to the Soo and have a good break. Do a little bit of work, but mostly relax.
Yeah, definitely. So I was really intrigued by the fact that you went on a missions trip, especially in grade 12, being so young, and I just wanted to learn more about it. So I hope you got my phone message, just explaining what we're going to be discussing today, and that I'm going to use it to write an article. So just to refresh your memory, I'm just going to ask you about why you chose the missions trip, a little bit how you ended up leading 10 kids through the trip, why you chose the organization you chose to go with, and if the trip changed your perspective on any aspect of life. But unfortunately, we only have 5 minutes. I hope that I'll be able to hear all your answers on everything, though. So I was really interested by the fact that you just went on a missions trip so young. What was your main reason for deciding to do this?
Okay. Well, in grade 11, some of the high school students that I went to school with, we were selected to go to a leadership camp. And at the leadership camp, there was a presentation from a man named Ted Vanderzom, and he's the leader of an organization called Wells of Hope. And that's the organization that I went with for the missionary trip. And so basically, this man's a very inspiring guy.
Okay.
He did a lot of work in Guatemala, and so he presented that, and he presented the opportunity to go on a trip through the organization with him.
Okay, so you chose to go on the trip because of this man.
Yeah.
Okay, and what was your favorite aspect about the organization that you went on?
They do a lot of good work, and it's all grassroots. It's a grassroots organization, so they don't get a lot of government funding necessarily.
Okay.
They look towards private investors and things like that in order for their funding, so they're not necessarily mandated as much, and they can do the work that they want to do as opposed to doing work that a sponsor organization might want them to do.
Yeah, and before you went on, was the trip something that you've always wanted to do?
I always had an inclination of helping people.
Yeah.
I've always liked helping people, and this was a trip where I guess the main theme is helping people and doing good work in the Guatemala community.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm aware that you ended up leading 10 kids through the trip, and they were obviously from your high school. How did you end up being the leader of these kids?
Well, when I went on the trip, it was the second annual trip from my high school, and so the leader before him and I had we were friends, and so he knew that I was also at the leadership camp that where the presentation was made,
Yeah.
and so he knew that I had a background in leadership basically, and so he appointed me to lead the group, and I also
Okay.
have been involved in a lot of other activities in high school, so I had different contacts in terms of teachers and students who would be interested in helping out.
Okay, and how these kids were around the same age as you, so how is it like leading these kids considering they were the same age?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, like you said, they're the same age, so motivation is a big factor. Motivating them to do work for the trip prior to the trip in accompaniment with their schoolwork. It's not like it's a full-time job for them. So, for example, what I mean by that is for fundraising, we had to raise a lot of funds for the trip because the cost was about $1,000.
Oh, wow.
And so they had to do some work in terms of generation of ideas for how we could raise these funds, and also once we generated the ideas, actually putting them into implementation. So that was a little bit difficult, but I think that by just working with the students and making it more of a collaborative approach to the trip, it was good leadership style.
Yeah, and did they take your direction, because you might have been friends with a little bit, so did they take your direction well, or did they resist a little bit?
Yeah, I would say they took direction fairly well. One of the things I did to ensure that there was no issues with maybe a power struggle or something like that is having an application process right at the beginning, having them tell me exactly why they wanted to go, so that their values of helping people, for example, aligned with the values of the organization, so that it was easier to know that they would be willing to be compromising throughout the entire experience to help out.
What were you looking in the values of these people?
I was looking in values of why they wanted to go to Guatemala, specifically to help the Guatemalans, and not in terms of any self-interest motives.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. So it looks like we're running a little bit of low on time, so this is going to be my last question. I just wanted to know, did the trip change your perspective on any aspect of life, and if yes, how so?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did. One of the things that we did there was help the family build a home. Basically, there was a mother with something like 8 kids and her 2 ailing parents who she all in one house.
Wow.
And the house was smaller than this room here.
Oh.
And so what we did was essentially build a foundation for the house, and we funded for the house to be built for her.
Yeah.
So just being able to help somebody in that kind of magnitude, even though it was relatively small and low cost for us,
Yeah.
just being able to really make that kind of difference was a big impact on my life.
Yeah. So, so it really showed you the impact that such a small impact can have on different people in different countries because they have so little. So do you have any other plans to go on a missionary trip in the future?
No plans yet to go on a missionary trip. The last one was still relatively recent,
Yeah.
and I need to save money from university before I can go on another one.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Nick, for taking your time to meet with me. You gave me great information about your reasons for going on, about leading the kids, and if the trip has changed your perspective on anything, please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. And thanks again for your time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Bye.